You know, no PubCon would be the same without the appearance of two of the industry's longtime thought leaders, practitioners, and frequently practical jokers. It's always a pleasure to meet up with and hang out with Duane Forrester from Yext and Ryan Jones from Razorfish. You learn a lot, you laugh a lot, and generally have a good old time. One of the best things about chatting with these two is it's always unplanned, unscripted, totally ungagged. Certainly one of the best quotes of the series was when Ryan said to Duane, "Don't go off at a tangent," and then said, "Actually, that should be the title of this interview." And to add to the delightfully interesting randomness of our chat, a slight little technical issue happened right in the middle. I wonder if anyone will notice it. Anyway, let's start the conversation. So, Ryan and Duane, thanks for joining me.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. I know exactly who you are, but as I've said many, many times, nobody knows you guys better than you know yourselves. Duane, you go first. Who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
All right. Duane Forrester, VP of Industry Insights for Yext. I've been in the industry close enough to 25 years that it doesn't. It's just fuzzy now. I worked at Microsoft for a decade, ran Bing Webmaster Tools there, so I have a long history with that. It's an amazing industry, obviously. If you're watching this, you have some sense of that. Here at PubCon, I mean, honestly, like Mike, it's, I hate to say it's the granddaddy of all conferences, because it makes us all seem a little old, but it is one of the longest. It is one of the longest established conferences. And every time I come to PubCon, I see you, I see Ryan, I see people I know in the industry. Incidentally, the same people that I problem solve with offline when I have something I don't know an answer to. You meet these people here at PubCon. This is where you see people. And I have to be honest, it's amazing to be back here and seeing the turnout of people. The speakers roster for this event is mind-blowing. It's a literal who's who, and everybody showed up. Yeah. It's just fantastic.
I was chatting with Brett, who is the founder of the conference, yesterday, and I'll come back to that in a second. But Ryan, who are you? What do you do, and why are you here?
I have no idea why I'm here or what I do. No. Ryan Jones. I'm Senior Vice President at Razorfish. I help run the SEO practice at the agency. Razorfish, it's an old agency. It's been around forever. It went away for a little bit. Now it's back. Through all the name changes. Sorry for interrupting you there, but I was going to say this is one thing that Ryan is probably the only person qualified to say, that he's worked for a company with 10 different names, and it's all the same company. Yeah. So I've been here at what's now Razorfish for 11 years tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
So, thank you.
Yeah.
I just realized that.
Here. That's cool.
But I've been doing SEO since before Google was a company. Prior to that, I was a software engineer. That's my background. So I love to play with the intersection of code and SEO and just geek out. And like Duane said, I'm so happy to be back in person at conferences. It's like I haven't seen Mike in 4 years now.
Right.
Yeah.
And
pesky little thing called pandemic, I think. That's,
well, I don't know, Mike. Every time I see you, you're flying somewhere. I can't keep up with you.
So I'm trying to avoid the pandemic.
One step ahead globally.
Yeah, actually, that's true. Just going off at a tangent here, but when I had to go to the UK, it was at my mother's funeral, unfortunately. And when I was flying there, we heard about this thing that was a new virus, and this is just like right at the very beginning. And I stopped in Ireland on the way because that's where my family's from originally. Right. And I went to the UK. And then on the way back, there was a great restaurant in Brussels that my wife had never been to. I thought, well, we're in Europe, why not? So we popped into Brussels. This is going somewhere, by the way. So we popped into Brussels and had dinner there. And then the following day, we flew back to Newark, coming back home. But the thing that was bothering me was that I noticed on the way to the funeral that they started talking about this virus thing. And then the first case was noticed in Dublin, where we had just been, and then I got to the UK, and they said there were cases there. Then when I got to Brussels, they just announced there was one there, and I said, "Are we ahead?" I said to my wife, "Are we ahead of this? Are we spreading it?" Yes. So when I got back to the US and got back home, that was it. I went into the apartment, locked the door, and didn't come out for 2 years.
So you're the reason we had no conferences for 3 years.
Could well be me. I don't
It's
know.
all Mike's fault.
Okay.
Note to oneself, edit that piece out, okay? So yes, I was talking to Brett yesterday, and we're just saying how great it is. It is the granddaddy as such. It's been around for 23 years.
Yeah.
Now, 2000
Yeah.
when we started.
It's
So here's the thing. You guys have been attending this conference and the other conferences as regular speakers. So you've covered just about every topic. What was it this time? What were you covering this time?
I was diving in on kind of the intersection of, hold on to yourselves now, because this is going to be a shocker, AI.
AI.
Yeah, I've heard of that. What is it?
You know, it'll be a thing shortly. You'll hear about it. But talking about AI, the new technologies, the realities of it, the limits of it, and more importantly, the impact on customer experiences and customer expectations. And then downstream, in a room full of marketers, what everyone has to do and get right in order to remain competitive moving forward. Because you guys know this, you've lived through all of this, and many of the folks watching will understand this. Like, SEO is dead, SEO is not dead. Like, there's all these refrains. We heard it this morning straight from Fabrice at Bing. SEO will never die, it will always be needed.
I just wish we didn't have to call it that. Because
Right,
whatever.
Yeah, like,
It died. SEO killed it, and then
But-
SEO
yeah,
killed that.
exactly. But the reality is that we are sitting at the intersection right now of something that is about to become very different than what we used to live with. And it's not going to happen instantly the way people seem to think it's going to be. But over the next few years, these new technologies are going to define new areas of focus. And there's going to be lots of crap along the way, but we'll wade through it because that's what SEO does every month, is evolve.
I heard that mobile's going to be big.
Might.
Voice search is
But
going
hey,
to be big.
yeah.
Now
Reserve-
it's AI. I mean, seriously, is it really? At the end of the day, AI is not new. I mean, the notion of AI has been around forever.
No, not at all.
Took a college course in 04 about that.
Exactly.
Google, Bing have been using machine learning for a very, very long time.
Absolutely.
But it's only now with ChatGPT that everybody is like, wow, the world's going to end.
With-
the machine is taking my job.
And it's fascinating because when you look at the technology, there are way more advanced technologies
Yes.
than large language models. All they do is predict the next word in the sentence.
I wish more
And yet-
SEOs knew that. And
Right.
there are so many SEOs out there, sorry to cut you off, that
Not at all.
that think it's just pulling from an index or a knowledge graph. It doesn't have any of that. It's just words in vector space, and
Yep.
that word's closest to this word, and that's...
I
So-
tell people, think about it like an intelligent word cloud.
Yes.
And it's guessing at what the next word is,
Yes.
right? Kill two birds with one. There are a lot of answers you can put in there. Bullet, stick, boulder. But we all know what the actual answer is. And when you look at a mathematical rendering of how the system is doing this, the numbers back that up. The large language model says, oh, well, there's a 0.92 that it's going to be stone. And so it goes with that because it's the highest probability.
Yeah.
But if you watch the model continue, it tests every other thing to see what that probability would look like. That's where the hallucinations come from that we see happening. When it gets off into those edges saying, well, maybe they mean kill two birds with one automobile.
Yep.
I mean, it's technically a sentence, but
But I mean, there's still a long way to go with this. This is a pretty good start. But it's interesting what you say, that there's so much higher powered technology if it comes to that. I was speaking to somebody yesterday and just said, I don't play any computer games. I never have, but I have an Alienware computer.
Right.
That I like to build out myself because I do a lot of video editing and that
Right.
kind of thing. So it's perfect for that.
Yeah.
When I look at the NVIDIA graphics that I've got in there, and I look at what NVIDIA is doing, this is absolutely amazing.
Yes.
So all of the SEOs that do play games, that do, right?
Yeah.
And they're talking about GPT
GPT.
without realizing the graphics card they have on their
Yeah.
machine is
Yeah.
so advanced.
yes.
My graphics card has done more processing than game playing lately. It's
Yeah.
as I'm diving into this stuff, and I've started learning about machine learning models and playing with my own in Python, with the dev background, and it's fascinating, and I just can't stop playing with stuff now. It's so much fun.
It's amazing when I got access to the new Bing chat system. And it's kind of important for folks to understand that even though they're very tightly affiliated with OpenAI and ChatGPT, ChatGPT Plus run on slightly different models. Bing Chat runs on an entire galaxy different model. And that's why it has recency, it is accurate, it gives good answers, it has good conversations. And even then, we have to acknowledge there are things they have to do to put limitations in areas because it can go slightly off kilter. But being able to do these things, the one thing that I was waiting for since they launched this integration is I wanted mobile, because as we know, it may be a big thing in the future.
Eventually.
But I wanted the microphone. I wanted to be able to input into this chat conversation vocally, because I can then do something like hit microphone in this conversation. The Bing chat will capture all of the conversation, and then I can give it an appended prompt on that. Summarize this. And it will then go through and do it. And I've had to do no work for this. Like,
Next time I'll invite.
That's huge.
Next time I'll invite ChatGPT instead of you. Then
I
Well,
want
you
that
get
plug-in
5
in Teams.
answers, and then it'll stop, right?
I want that plug-in in Teams right now.
Right.
Instead of having a PM
Right.
or account person summarize the meeting you just had and send out notes,
Exactly.
I want Teams to do it.
But think about this. Think about the disruption that this brings, right? We talk about keyword research, ideation, content creation, the jobs that are affected. We talk about all of those things, right? The minute you integrate it into a technology like Zoom or Teams or Roam, any of these systems, all of a sudden, you've taken out an entire section of the industry that does transcripts, because there's no need for that now. It's embedded. And I can guarantee you, this morning, Snap announced their AI-powered chatbot for premium accounts. I'm like, the next 6 months is just going to be a roller coaster of this constant announcement cycle.
So let's just take that and go back to where we started. We've been in the industry for a long time. What we started doing as SEOs was trying to make up for the fact that all of the search engines, Google included, had this very primitive piece of technology called a crawler that didn't know one thing from another and had problems with, JavaScript and session IDs and those kind of things. So
Wait, it's been 25 years.
It still has those problems.
Still hasn't fixed those things.
So generally speaking, the SEO was more about that kind of
A
process.
workaround, not a hack.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know that, at the end of the day, there was a lot of the stuff that the SEO community was doing that I said a few times to people from Google, the SEO community is doing your job for you.
Right, absolutely.
So that leads me to where we are now, given what you've just said, encapsulating what's going to happen in the next 6 months. There was something somewhere, I think, that you posted, Ryan, about bringing people on board, new employees, and the kind of questions and the kind of skills that they have to have.
Yep.
So you've been set, you understand what it is you expect them to. Did you notice it? I think you did. Yes, just as things were ticking along nicely, the technical gremlins crept in and boom, everything just closed down on us. Cameras, microphones, the lot. However, in my usual stay calm and let Mike deal with it way, we managed to get half of the kit up and running pretty quickly using a certain type of new technology. Okay, so here we are live at PubCon Austin in Texas. We did have a slight little technical problem there. I don't know if my guests noticed that. However,
Didn't notice
we can fix that using artificial intelligence. I can create the edit just like that. And we're back again, guys. So,
welcome back.
Anyway, where were we? I think, Duane, you were in the middle of something. What was it?
We were talking about, if I remember correctly, we were talking about creation of jobs, the removal of jobs.
Job skills, because I mentioned that.
Exactly, because you
Ryan had written something about questions that you ask people when they're applying for a job. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think we were talking about, when hiring people, right? Do we really want to hire a prompt engineer? And my answer, and Dwayne's answer is no, we don't.
No.
But do I want to hire people that know how to use AI, that have played with it? Yes. And we're interviewing, I think the question answering process in interviewing has changed to where I'm less concerned with your skill sets and I'm more concerned with your passion, with your ability to learn, right? I think one of my favorite questions I ask people is, tell me something you read about in SEO today that you just think is bullshit.
I'll say most of it.
Yes, they will. They'll be like, wow, I listened to this podcast with Duane and Ryan. So I think it's the skill set. Can you quickly adapt? Do you have that passion to play with the new technology? Are you interested in that stuff? That's what excites me about a candidate, not specifically the skill set, because I can train that.
Yeah, I expect you to have the baseline skills. I don't believe that SEO operates on a level that is 101 and 201 anymore. We, a decade ago, went completely 201. That's the only level of SEO we have. It's advanced, it's complex, this is our reality. So what I need are people who can look at a new technology, adapt to it readily and quickly, and see how it impacts consumer behavior. And then how to translate that into positive movement for a business.
Yes.
That's what, you don't learn this in school. There is no teaching this. This is something that's in you. I was having a great conversation with somebody today at lunch, and they mentioned, I look for gumption. And that's the amazing part of it, right?
Good word.
She happens to be standing nearby.
Wow.
However, let me tell you, I completely agree with the concept, right? Like, and it's exactly what Ryan is saying. I want someone who, when I'm sitting in an interview, they are radiating an energy. They can't wait to talk to me about ChatGPT, OpenAI, DALL-E, something that's new, and they're excited about
But
how
is that
they're
going to
using
impress
it.
you that they lead in by saying, I know all about this AI stuff now?
It
Try to
won't
impress
impress
them with
me if they lean in and tell me they know all about it. What will impress me is if they demonstrate to me an understanding of the technology and how it impacts businesses and people's behaviors. And if you can do that by telling me how you're using it.
Yes. Show me your side project.
Exactly. I want to know what excites you, right? I recently posted this up on Facebook or on LinkedIn. I want to know what your balance is. Mine is camping in the desert. So I want to know. I assume you do your job and you do all of that. But when you have something that is new and exciting, and you have something that excites you in your life, I want to see what you created from that.
Yes.
I loved your tent, by the way. The one with the pizza oven or whatever.
Yeah, with a little, it actually does have a pizza oven. I didn't have it for those photos, but it's a wood burning stove and a hot tent, and it is a game
It's
changer.
a whole new definition of glamping right
Game
there.
changer for winter camping.
So given that you've both been in the industry for so long and you've had to interview people and you're bringing people in who are prepared to learn these new skills and have the gumption that Martha explained to you,
Right.
to be able to go for that. What do you expect the shape of the organization, the shape of your organization is going to be going forward? You know, how is the department, or how will it interact with the rest of the organization?
That's a great question. And the
It's
answer
a hard one, I know, but
Yeah, I can see the little hamster wheel spinning up there.
Totally.
The
This
light
is why-
light bulb's almost got a spark.
But this
But
is the-
it is a thing that when we talk about the
It's very
industry is
real.
going to change, how's it going to change with your organization? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, we touched on this earlier where I talked about, I talked to someone earlier this week who was saying one of their clients wants to fire all the writers, use all of these chat systems to do all the writing, and then that benefits them. And I get it. Look, you get salaries, you got benefits, you know, you've got all of these other ancillary costs with the squishy human that are not inexpensive. And they're looking at this saying, well, if I get to save all that. My approach is, you're all editors. I want to use your knowledge that you have as a writer and as a subject matter person, and I need you now to edit what this system is capable of doing, because the system is capable of getting me faster to my starting point than you sitting there with a coffee staring out the window, which I support, because that's a part of your creative process, but I need you to be more editor, less writer. And so we see those types of shifts coming along. I also, hopefully, we will see businesses starting to finally dot the I's and cross the T's on the fundamental stuff they need to still do. Fabrice talked about it, you know, where he was saying, look, there's like 18% of sitemaps are using last mod as the day that the sitemap was produced.
Exactly.
That's low. That seems low to me.
I agree. I think that's low because when I go looking for this stuff, I'm just like broken. Like, and I know that from my history being inside Bing, that it's like, that's garbage, you're just skipping it, you know? And yet you're putting time and effort into that. And you think you're doing something with it. It's no, complete waste. And I think that, so those things, those still need to be done, right? This is very much a garbage in, garbage out proposition. Large language models, they're predicting the next word. If you feed them garbage, you get garbage.
Exactly. Yeah,
So we still have to do all that fundamental stuff. What this does is clears the way for You stop arguing about keyword research. You start arguing about topics and about expanding topics and about new ideas. It makes it easy for ideation. In 30 minutes, a team of 4 people could come up with more ideas than a team of 6 people could in a whole year previously. And you will never run out of it. Oh, and because you can contain everything, you know those meetings where everybody's brainstorming and then you go off on a tangent and it's just crazy and you kind of lost your way? None of that happens because it remembers in a linear fashion what your core concept was. So then everything you give it relates back to that.
Go off on a tangent? No, I'm not familiar with that at all. That should be the title of this interview.
Exactly.
So I think you're right. I think, get back to the original question is how does this change organizational structure? The real answer is it changes it to whatever best serves our clients. And we don't really know what that is yet. We'll figure that out. But I think to what Duane just said, it gets back to real marketing stuff. We're going to be less specialized SEOs and more marketing. It's going to enable the marketer to do the tactical stuff that we used to be doing. And it's going to take us back to real marketing. It's going to be more well-rounded, full-on marketers.
So this is for another conversation, but let's just touch the tip of this one. There is this movement now to move away from performance marketing and brand and try and fuse the two of them together.
Right.
So that you have persuasion and precision. And that's the way that people look at it now. And I think that is an organizational change. It has to happen culturally within the organization.
Agreed.
So I think what you're saying, Ryan, is apart from all of these technical skills that you need to know and all of the other stuff that goes with SEO, you have to understand what the organization that you're working with, from a marketing point of view, what it is they're trying to do.
And what your customers want. You have to really, it gets down to customer intent and customer needs. And it's not enough anymore to just be an SEO keyword research person or copywriter or technical SEO.
Yeah.
You're going to need to know a lot more than that in the future.
I agree.
I've had a lot of coffee, by the way, staring at a blank screen. Right? I might miss that. But the one thing that happens, and because you write a lot, and Ryan, you're the same, but isn't it just magic when you're staring at that blank screen, drinking that coffee, and then the first words appear? It just happens within minutes after that.
And I don't think that goes away, okay? I think what this does is it solves for Sunday afternoon for Monday's deadline, and you can't force it.
So you can't start with the blank screen anyway.
You could, but you don't get there because your time is compressed. So this is your parachute.
So journalism is an interesting concept, and we talked about this briefly yesterday over drinks. We'll bring it onto video now and record it. But I'm hoping it goes the other way. So we've seen children's books get published that are written by ChatGPT. We've seen magazine publishers and book publishers been overloaded with content to where some magazines, major ones, have said, no, we're not taking user submissions anymore. And I'm hoping, I don't know if it's going to happen, it's probably not going to happen, but my hope is that maybe this pushes things the other way to where journalists become more valued and there's more on-staff, full-time people, not part-time people, right? No more contributor model that isn't working right now, right?
Yep.
It's maybe this helps fix journalism because we have the problem where the bullshit is free, the fake news is free, the good journalism's locked up behind a paywall. And if it's harder now to get your bullshit into an actual magazine, maybe that'll fix things? I don't know. But I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I think journalists, and I've worked in that role before, are worried themselves. But I think if you look at ChatGPT, and I said this to Gary, because I didn't realize Gary Illes, or which way you want to pronounce his name, Ish, or No, but Gary had been a journalist previously. I didn't know that, and I was saying to him, when you're a journalist, you give your copy to an editor who looks at it. So the same thing, if ChatGPT comes up with this content, then you're going to have to do the QA. You're going to have to make sure that it's right and fact check it and those kind of things. So, it might speed up the process. That said, this has been a great conversation, guys.
Yeah.
It is to be continued later at the cocktail session.
We might not videotape all of that. But
no, I will. Believe me, we're going to do bar talk. And let's do it all again at the next conference.
For sure.
Great to see you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, even with gremlins creeping in and all of that, still, as usual, it was an information-packed and fun conversation with Duane and Ryan. As ever, great to see you both. Much looking forward to our next conference escapades.